Welcome back to the Red Stool, and today we're here to talk about My Hero Academia, Chapter 352, Ultimate Move. Now, starting this chapter, this may be the first battle in the Heroes versus Villain War to actually be wrapped up and almost finished, because it looks like Todoroki has gotten himself to a point where he's finally able to stop his older brother. Now, I'm still waiting for the official scans to come out before I dive too deep into it, but from the rough translation, what it's looking like is Todoroki is now able to use both his fire and his ice at their maximum potential, and he's using his heart to regulate his internal temperature. So this creates kind of like an equilibrium or lukewarm state inside of his body, no matter how hot his fire is or how cold his ice is, which actually gives him some pretty cool tricks as he's able to make a fire that's cold enough to where so you can touch it without being hurt. And it's what he used last chapter to neutralize that hellfire attack that Dabi sent at him. Or flatfire. Sorry. These other translations be having me messed up sometimes. But he uses that, and then when he came out with the ultimate move, Phosphorus, where it doesn't matter which side of his body it is now. He can use hot or ice on either side because, of course, as we know, it's one quirk, and it's not just regulated to one side of his body. And I feel like mentally, Todoroki, he's finally in a position where he can process all of this and grow as a hero. Because in the chapter, he kind of explains that UA is his safe space, his home, where through the help of his classmates and Deku and all the teachers, he was able to really come to terms and be able to find out who he is. Because as he grew up, we knew that he only had hatred for his father and the desire to be a number one hero. Now he's been able to socialize, actually make friends, and begin to understand himself as a person, which is really important when it comes to the ability to even awaken your quirk, because it doesn't just come with training or elevating your body's physical needs or output. Mastering and awakening your quirk comes from the mastery of yourself, mentally, physically, and then with your quirk. All three, you need to accomplish all three of those things before you can truly awaken your quirk. Throughout the series, anyone who's awakened their quirk, they've done all three of these things. Mostly it's happened when our characters, our heroes and villains, have been under extreme duress, where they've been challenged mentally, physically, and with their quirks, and they rise to the occasion. It changes their ideologies, and you see them become cemented in the person that they are or the person that they want to be. So I like how Horikoshi has kept that theme going, not only with the villains, but the heroes as well, as we see with Todoroki. Because now that he's finally accepted himself mentally and he's able to make something of himself, he's unlocked this new heat equilibrium where he can get as hot as he wants or cold as he wants, because his body will always stay the same temperature. And now he can use fire attacks that have an icy basis, like he uses on Dabi. It's a blade of fire that freezes on impact, and he actually uses it to cool his brother down. And he's trying to get through to his brother. And even Dabi's starting to acknowledge. He's like, okay, this is Dad's masterpiece. He's good. But what I don't like is the fact that Dabi, towards the end of the fight, he still pushes him away mentally. He's like, we're nothing alike, me and you. And I'm still waiting out for the official translations. But if that's the case, and if that's how Dabi really feels at the end of this, they got a long way to go. Now, granted, their problems and everything that Dabi's done isn't going to be solved overnight, but this could be a first step. Now, when we get to Todoroki's final move, where he's able to store up enough of the fire and ice inside of his body, and then he releases this freezing Arctic tsunami, and previously, Dabi had turned the battlefield into this just blue burning hellscape. And now everything is completely frozen over. Buildings, the ground, everything. I like how it's just a good way to bring down the emotions of this battle. Of course, earlier in the past few chapters, we've been running off of all of Dabi's anger and his hatred and everything that felt justified. And now we have Todoroki just coming in, trying to just soothe, cool over, and save his brother. And I like that dynamic there. And I feel like it's just something really subtle that Horikoshi put in there, that emotional dynamic where we go from the burning hatred of Dabi's feelings and him getting all worked up to Todoroki working himself up, but accepting his brother, trying to give his brother that love and save his brother. That's the first thing that he wants to do as a hero, and this is going to determine if he can be a hero, and he just needs to cool his brother down for once. Now, of course, at the end of the chapter, I wanted to say, this battle's over. Okay, great. Todoroki, Shoto, you did it. Maybe you were able to save Dabi. But then I remembered, Dabi's body is designed to withstand freezing temperatures. And how they end the chapter in this embrace that they have, where it's like almost like Todoroki is holding up Dabi. But what if Dabi isn't done? What if this is just the calm before the next storm? He just needed this quick cool down so he can furthermore go on to burn his body up and burn him and Todoroki away. Because I feel like this moment is just perfect for Dabi to just snap open his eyes, say something very cynical to his brother, and attempt to burn them both up with his quirk. So that's I feel like that's one of my predictions for the next chapter. Thankfully, we're not going to be on break next week. So looks like we're back at it. It's a really great chapter in my opinion. I like how Todoroki, he's finally seeing himself as a hero, which is ironic because we've always seen Todoroki as top 3, but he hasn't seen himself that way. But now he's finally in a position where he's ready to be a hero and he actually can save the day. But of course, like I always say, these are my opinions. What are yours? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure you follow me on all social at ThatBoyBestBoy. Apologize for the raspy voice. Feeling a little bit under the weather, but everything's all fine. I'm going to see y'all later, all right? Peace.